Alright guys, I got the phone call, everyone dreads. I got the phone call from the wife saying one of the fish tanks is broken. Am I surprised? Not really. Let's just get stuck into the video. Alright, so water on the floor. As you guys know, we've been making the floor dry, so obviously water's not meant to be on the floor. So it's this tank here. So my wife rang me, she said the fish tank's cracked. She wasn't actually sure whether it was cracked or split. I need to get that. I don't know what to do here. You guys help me help me from the future. I just can't catch a break at the moment. Yesterday I thought one of the tanks was cracked and it wasn't, so it was kind of a win. Today one of the tanks is broken. So the water like my wife couldn't see here properly. She thought there was a crack there, so she told me it was cracked. I've come home, it's not cracked, but I'm not sure whether I would have preferred a crack, to be honest. The problem with this here, all the bracing's pulling away. The problem with this here, I can't get silicone in that joint. I need to get some water out of this tank. Sorry, I'm trying to be a good YouTuber, but I'm being a shitfish helper. Alright, wife's gonna film actually. I can't get the standpipe out, guys. I think this has been leaking for a minute because yesterday, maybe we're not taking the standpipe out. Maybe we're draining it with a hose. Standpipe would be handy. Oh, this was taking the standpipe out would be handy, but I don't want to go cracking the base of that tank just to try and get the standpipe out. My point there was, usually the tanks, if I want to drain them real quick, I can just take the standpipe out, but not the case. The floor's already wet, so it doesn't really matter about getting water on the floor. I've got to make a decision on what to do here. I don't have another house for the fish. That's my main concern right now. I want to kind of watch this as it drains and see how far down the water goes. There's actually something I want to show you guys. Whoever built this tank, there's no silicone between those two top bracings, so I don't really want to do it while it's this full, but I can move this top bracing and that one doesn't move because there's literally no silicone in there. This tank's braced too. It's got internal Euro bracing. It's an extremely poorly built tank, guys. If you've watched the channel for many years, you know this tank is 7 foot by 4 foot by 2 foot deep, and the base is only 10mm glass. Just that, before you even think about how it's built, that alone, if you know about glass thickness, is completely wrong. So this tank actually cracked on first fill, and I got it cracked, but it was brand new. Like it hadn't had water in it for more than like 24 hours. The plan was I patched the bottom to house some fish in an emergency. It was actually on the ground in the shed, and I was always going to put a 15mm base in it, and then the patches held up for like a year and I just never did it. And ironically, my wife rang me and said that this tank's cracked. I was like, oh no, the base. It's not the base, it's the bloody end. Completely just popped off. Alright, so I'm wondering how far down. It doesn't even look like there's silicone in there. Where's the silicone, guys? Alright, so it gets dodgier. We're going to flip this around and try not drop the camera in the water. Where is it? If you look under there, all the lights in the water. The top brace doesn't actually go to the end. There's like 10 millimeters of silicone beaded on the bottom there. Whoops, I've got a bit of water on the camera. Should be right. So I'm not surprised it's popped. I can't check any of the other corners. At this stage I'm going to do a dodgy patch, but by dodgy I don't mean real dodgy, I just mean kind of dodgy. Simply because at this stage I don't know the quality of the rest of the tank. I'm a rock in a hard place here. To me, if a tank leaks like this and it's a silicon failure, to me this whole tank needs to come apart. But look where it is. So to get this tank out, there's a 4x2.5, there's a 4x2, and then there's a 7x2 on top of it. So those three tanks would have to come down, and then that tank there would have to come out, and then I would have to pull this rack apart. I'd probably have to support this shelf to the ceiling, take those legs out, and then slide this tank out and out this way. So it would be a massive job. So there would be 1, 2, 3, 4 3 colonies and one pair, which I'd have to find a home for. I really didn't need this while that's empty, because obviously if that was full of fish still, we would have the 8 foot to put the Bochromis in, but we don't. So this video is going to be way too long. I'll get this drained and then I'll show you how I'm going to patch it. Hopefully I've figured out by then how I'm going to patch it. Alright guys, I've come to the conclusion that this side of this tank has leaked before, because if you look at this silicone smeared on the outside, I'm 99% sure I didn't put that there. And if that is from the original build, that's just another demonstration of poor workmanship. I'm struggling to get the silicone out of here. The leak stopped there, so I'm going to go to a little bit lower than the leak. It's weird because it looks like there's plenty of... There's like not even silicone there, look. I might try pop this whole side off, and then I can at least pull it forward like that 6 mil there, and I can clean that out. I was trying to avoid to go right to the bottom, because obviously you got higher water pressure. Oh, I can't go to the bottom because there's fish in the tank. Oh well, scrap that idea. Alright guys, unfortunately I lost the filmer. She had a baby to attend to. That's alright, right? You guys just get me for this round. So I started draining, well, I mostly drained the tank. Catching the fish should be easier, but also not that easy. They're not in much water. Well, alright, I'm going to catch these off camera. I don't like leaving them in that little water, so I want to make haste with this job. Alright guys, so I got the fish out. I can't even remember what I filmed last. Obviously I'm a little bit flustered at the moment. I managed to get a rag in there. Hot little tip, so if you're trying to drain the bottom of a tank, use a 4mm line and start the siphon while you've got the big one in, and then the siphon, just let it continue. One good thing about this tank is it's got bottom bracing in it, so if I get that water level to like that 3mm, it won't actually wet where we're siliconing. So my plan here, I've cleaned it, I've sprayed it out with the air gun. The air gun has oil in it, so we need acetone to get the oil out. And then obviously I can't, so the rag is going to get some water on it when I do this. So the plan is acetone to get the oil off, but there's still going to be a bit of moisture in there. And I'm probably going to get the heat gun out on a very low heat just before I silicone, instead of using acetone to dissipate the water. I think that's my plan. So pretty much I've got limited acid. Oh, that just landed in that fish tank. I guess we're going to find out if flowerhorn fry don't like acetone. It was only a drip, guys, don't stress too much. So now, I don't know if I explained, but I just didn't want to risk not doing all the way to the bottom, so that's why we've taken the fish out. One thing I was surprised with is how well I can actually see this edge and what silicone I've got off. One good but bad thing, there was no bead of silicone on the inside, so the inside's nice and clean. I didn't have to scrape silicone off it. I don't know who built this tank, but they didn't put a bead on the inside. It makes no sense to me. I can definitely find out who built it, but I'm not sure I really want to know. Now I've got to try to get this rag out. Alright, so rag's out. I had a stick holding it open a bit, but I lost the stick. It actually needs to pull in a bit. Oh, and also in trying to take the standpipe off, I've undone the bulkhead, so I need to tighten that as well before we fill it back up. But right now that's the least of our worries. So next step is to go to the shop. Alright guys, so we went to Bunnings. It pained me to buy a silicone gun. I've actually got 3 silicone guns at work, including an 18 volt Makita one, like $400 silicone gun, and I had to buy one. So here's my hot tip on the silicone guns, the $4 ones. Not me personally, but one of the guys at work has, main site fixers, has tried a heap of different silicone guns, and he said, and his verdict is these are the best value for money. The only thing is they don't release, so you've got to constantly thumb them there. Or his recommendation is actually the plastic ones, but they're quite expensive, so I'm guessing most of you would rather go with the cheapies. You guys have seen in my videos, I always use these yellow ones. So I don't know why I'm getting the silicone ready now, we don't need that yet. So now that's the gap is cleaned, it's acetoned, but you'll see there's condensation in the tank. So now I'm going to blast it with a heat gun, but obviously we've got to be super careful we don't overheat it. I'm going to put the heat gun on the lowest temperature possible. So let's get stuck into that. Alright guys, so I can hold my hand on that. I've only got it set at 100 degrees. The worst thing about this tank is my head doesn't fit in there. So hopefully you guys can hear me. It's looking pretty good in here. It's nice and dry. Man, I'm really not a huge fan of how little silicone is in the corners of this tank. I don't really expect this tank to last forever at this stage. What they've done is they've Euro braced the inside of it, and the Euro bracing is only like 6 millimeters, and then they've scraped all of the silicone off the outside of that 6 millimeters. So there is a mating edge of 16 millimeters total, but there's no extra bead on the inside giving you that extra, like, I would say like close to 10 millimeters sometimes if you do a nice fat bead. And especially a tank like this where it's pushing the limits of the, like what thickness silicone it should be, what thickness glass it should be. It's definitely a situation where I would have really lathered the silicone on. Alright, so I've got a stick in here. The worst part about this is this leg's in front of it. So I can't look at the front of this tank and decide how the silicone job's going. not only is that a pain for me, that's a pain for you guys as well, because you don't have a good viewing angle of me doing this job. As a YouTuber, that hurts my feelings. Alright, so you guys want to come in a bit? So my plan here is, you guys aren't going to be able to see much. I'll probably just film a little bit and then I'll do the rest off camera. But basically, my plan is to get under here and load this bottom corner up. I'm not worried about how much silicon's coming out towards me on the side here. We can clean that up later. I don't have anywhere to put this excess silicon. I don't know. I guess I'll just put it up here for now. I'll clean the side of the tank later. I've got my rag here with acetone on as well. Alright, so now I need to get inside here. I can't see a thing. I cannot see. Alright, I'm gonna have to do it off camera, guys. Sorry. Alright guys, so the silicon's in there now. So now I just gotta take my little stick out and then that'll all come together. I wouldn't mind finding some tape and taping that back a little bit. I'm trying to think of if I could prop it somehow, but I might just go find some tape. Alright guys, so it is patched. I'm worried about that bottom corner a little bit. There's still a bit of water in there, but the water level is lower than that bracing, so it was dry on top of that bracing. But I can't actually reach the bottom of that, so I didn't get to smear a nice corner in there, which sucks. But besides that, it all went well. Oh, we got silicon on the face on the inside there. The water change system will come on at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, so I'm probably just gonna leave it to come on. There's probably some wrigglers in that tub too. Talk about stealing the limelight this week. I've got to clean the shed too, guys. You guys know the missus cleaned the shed for me. I want to get more like these containers. I know Americans call them totes. I don't know what Australians call them. But I'm just going to call them plastic tubs. Oh, I guess they're the chickens. It wasn't meant to, oh, there's a chicken under the container. That only just happened, guys, because I fed them just before and that container had food in it. But plug the heat mat back in. I unplugged the heat mat to use the power cord. But anyway, guys, can you see the sweat dripping off my head? Today was like 36 degrees, and then to come home and basically, because the floor's wet. Ooh, I left a drink in here. I'm shutting. Oh, I need to check on these flower horn eggs. So basically, because I come home, walk into a fish room that's 30 degrees with a 90% humidity rate because of the water on the ground. It's crazy. Look, it's crazy how much the humidity jumps up when there's water on the ground. One thing I noticed since fixing the leaks and not having water on the ground is there's been way less humidity in the room. But anyway, I'm just rambling at this stage, guys. The tank's repaired. How long it will hold, I don't know. I've got 99% faith in my joint. The thing that I'm worried about is the other joins. So I think if it leaks from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna have to shut down the 4x2.5 so I can at least climb in there, and then I don't know, I can dismantle it with only that one tank out, but the thing is I won't be able to reassemble it in there. I don't know. I think I think if it broke from here on in, if it leaked, I would bash out the Euro bracing without pulling the tank apart. I would clean all the silicone off on the inside, and then I would re-brace it with 10mm bracing instead of that shitty 6mm that's in there. I've never seen such small bracing. It's 6mm by 10mm, or 6mm by 15mm. I've never seen anything like it. But anyway guys, on that note, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe, hit that little red button. If you know who built the tank, please keep it to yourself. I'm not here to bag out anyone. And peace out. I'll see you guys tomorrow.